Hey folks, James Abrenio here, coming to you from Abrenio Law, your Northern Virginia personal injury and criminal defense law firm. In this video, I want to talk about an interesting issue that comes up a lot when it comes to personal injury claims, when clients of mine or people that try to handle their own cases, or sometimes people calling me who have other attorneys have a question about. And I worry that it comes up on the back end towards the end of cases. So I make sure that when I'm representing clients or I'm talking to people about potentially representing themselves, I make sure that we get up front, and that's health insurance liens. Now, what is a health insurance lien or a health insurance reimbursement? Under Virginia law, and I'm talking about Virginia here specifically. So if you have another case, another state, it may work differently there. And also, I want to make a caveat about my discussion here. This is really a starting off point. It's not meant to be legal advice, but more information that you can use when you're talking to your own attorney about your case, when you're talking to me about your case, or when you're considering how to resolve your case yourself. This is informational. It's a starting off point. It's not meant to be the black letter law, and I think every case is very different. But when we're talking about health insurance reimbursement and health insurance liens, under Virginia law, typically, if you're involved in an accident, my recommendation is to use your health insurance if you're lucky enough to be covered by insurance. Some people may say to me, well, James, I didn't cause the accident. The other person did. Why should my health insurance have to come into play? Won't this affect my insurance rates? Why doesn't their car insurance pay for this? And my answer is, well, if things work out, hopefully that will be the case. And hopefully the defendants, the persons that caused your accident will end up paying. But for now, you want to use your health insurance for a couple of reasons. Number one, the luck of you having the benefit of health insurance is very, very useful because it'll allow you access to care. The way personal injury cases work here in Virginia, if you're getting money from an insurance company, a car insurance company specifically, the other driver's insurance, you don't get paid out dollar for dollar, visit for visit, bill by bill. You're going to get one lump sum check towards the end of the case, and that's going to be the ultimate settlement in your case. And you're in that claim, you're going to claim for medical bills, personal injury, personal suffering, lost wages, all those things. But it's going to be one lump sum at the end of the case. Now, during that, which can take weeks, months, even years, you're going to need to get medical care. And by having health insurance here in Virginia, if you go in network, your health insurance is going to allow you to get access to that care. So you're going to go see your doctors, whether it's the emergency room, the primary care doctors, orthopedic specialists, brain injury specialists, whatever the case may be. If you're using your in-network providers, that's going to allow you to get the treatment. And by getting the treatment, you're going to complete the number one priority I think you should have in any personal injury case, and that's to get 100% better or as close to 100% better as possible. So it's going to allow you to get the care. What it's also going to do is allow you to document your injuries and recovery, because when you have a personal injury case, the car insurance companies aren't just going to take your word for it that you were injured. They're not just going to take your mom's and dad's or spouses or friends' word that you're injured. They're going to want medical evidence. And when you're seeing doctors, you're going to have doctors making diagnoses, making recommendations, making observations about your symptoms, treatment, recovery, and that's going to be documenting those. And that'll allow you to then prove, or at least have an avenue of proof to get an insurance company, a car insurance company, to believe you, or if you have to go to court, allow you to prove it to a jury. So it's going to allow you to document your injuries. The other thing is it's going to allow your doctors to get paid. As I was said before, car accident cases here in Virginia take weeks, months, years. While you're getting your treatment, your doctor's bills, if you're not getting them paid, are going to up and up and up. And either they're going to send you to collections, or they're going to be sending you letters asking you to do payment plans if you're lucky. And they're going to be pressuring you to pay the bill. Whereas if you send it through health insurance, the health insurance will pay most, if not all, of the bill. Now, of course, whether or not there's deductibles to be paid and co-payments and all those kinds of things, that's details to be worked out. But in the large part, using your health insurance is going to give you easier access to care. They're going to allow you to document your treatment because they're going to give you that access to care. And they're going to put you in a much better financial position towards the end of the case because your doctors have been paid, at least to the extent that your health insurance covers it. Now, the other benefit of using your health insurance is many-fold, but it's going to allow you to take advantage of what we call the health insurance discount. So going back to the original premise that your personal injury car accident case is going to take weeks, months, and years, let's assume towards the end of the case, now let's say 6 months or a year later, you're all better. You have your medical bills, and you're going to end up making a claim for those medical bills. So let's say, and just hypothetically, let's talk about one individual bill. You're going to have your hypothetical $100 bill. If you go through your network provider, the network, the health insurance will likely get a negotiated rate. So they're going to pay $40 for that $100 bill. Maybe you have a $5 copay. But that should then take care of that provider and the hospital, the doctor, whoever is out of the picture. And you can then go make that claim under your car accident claim, $100 plus pain, suffering, and inconvenience. Now, when we talked about health insurance reimbursement, what I'm talking about now at this stage is, do you end up having to reimburse your health insurance for paying that, in this hypothetical, that $40 for that medical bill? And in situations where you do have to reimburse them, you're going to reimburse them at that negotiated rate, that $40 bill. So instead of paying the $100 bill to the provider or potentially to the health insurance company, you're only reimbursing them that $40. So you're going to be making a claim for the $100 plus pain, suffering, inconvenience, lost wages. And if you have to reimburse the health insurance, it's that $40 rate. So you can see you're saving money rather than if you use the car insurance claim to pay the medical bill. If you did that, you would have to pay that $100 bill, $100, every cent on the dollar, every penny on the cent. So you end up paying the doctors more directly if you use the car insurance money rather than using the health insurance money. So in the long run, you're going to end up being in a better financial position if you use your health insurance and you're required to reimburse your health insurance company. Now, a lot of pushback I get is, James, why should my health insurance company, if I've been paying them premiums, why should they have a right to be reimbursed for premiums that I already paid? And the answer is, it really depends on your health insurance contract. There are certain policies that require reimbursement and certain policies that don't require reimbursement. And this all comes into play under Virginia's what we call anti-subrogation law. Essentially, stated another way, it's the ability to, quote, double dip or not. What it means is, how can it be that you make a health insurance claim for a medical bill, but then also make a car accident claim for a medical bill? So generally speaking, under Virginia law, you should be able to make the car insurance claim, and the health insurance should not be able to then ask for reimbursement. So typically, under old policies, and I think the old way of doing things, health insurance, Aetna, Cigna, the other companies did not have a right to be reimbursed if you get money from the car accident claim. Now, that's changed somewhat, and I don't want to pretend that I know the exact timeline of when the changes happened. But now there are policies that we know that are going to have a right to be reimbursed. So if you're dealing with your car accident claim, whether or not you're talking to your attorney about it or you're looking at settling your own claim, there are going to be certain policies that if you have, you want to make sure that you're accounting for health insurance reimbursement. You're going to want to make sure to reach out to those providers to try to understand that number, because you're going to want to know what that claim for reimbursement is before you settle your claim. That way you actually get an idea of what the net income is going to be in your pocket. So the first is Medicare benefits. If you're a Medicare recipient, then you're going to want to know whether or not you're going to want to know how much they paid for your car accident claim, what their lien is, and you're going to actually want to contact them and let them know, hey, you've been involved in a car accident, because they have what we call a super lien. What that means is whether or not they notify you now or 2 years from now, they're going to have a right to be reimbursed. So they're going to send you a bill, and if you don't pay the bill, there's huge penalties for not paying that bill. They're going to want to get paid. And you can think about it this way. The Medicare system is already a very difficult system. We look at it financially. There's concern of Medicare being bankrupt in 5 or 10 years. So when they're paying out medical costs, they're going to want to make sure to get reimbursed Medicare medical costs that are reimbursable, and that's particularly when it comes to specifically when it comes to car accident cases. So if you're a Medicare recipient, you're going to want to make sure that you're talking with your attorney, or that you're considering that reimbursement. And likely what's going to end up happening is you're going to have to reach out to Medicare, or your attorney will, to determine that amount. Other government-funded programs like Medicaid is also something that you need to consider, that probably have a right to be reimbursed. So again, if you're working with an attorney, you're going to want to talk to your attorney about it. If you're looking to do it yourself, you're going to want to research this, because again, it's a government-funded program. And with Medicaid specifically, there's other implications that can happen if you end up getting paid in your car accident case that's independent, that's outside the scope of this YouTube video. But you'll want to consider, one, as you probably know, if you're a Medicaid recipient, there's a financial need aspect of it, and you're only allowed to make a certain amount of money. So if you get income from a personal injury claim, that can affect your ability to keep that Medicaid. So that's something else. Another aspect is federal health benefits plan. So if you're a federal employee, or if you get health insurance coverage through your wife or your parents who are federal insurance employees, I always tell people, look, feds are going to get their money. So you're going to want to make sure that you're talking with your attorney about this, or you're trying to resolve it yourself. You're considering the possibility that the feds are going to have a right to reimbursement if you get money. So you're going to want to make sure that you look into that and consider that. There's also other plans that, again, this list that I'm talking about isn't meant to be the end-all be-all. This is really just a starting off point, again, informationally, for you to be thinking about your health insurance reimbursement possibility. There's probably other plans that are not within this video, but you should be considering and asking your attorney about. Now, let's now talk about private insurance that you buy on the private market. Typically, under Virginia law, these did not have a right to be reimbursed under Virginia's anti-segregation law. So the insurance companies got smart, and they started writing their policy under federal ERISA law. And this is a federal law that essentially gets around Virginia law. And for policies that are fully self-funded, essentially they pay for their own benefits, a lot of times they're going to have a right to be reimbursed, whether or not it's fully self-funded. Some claim they are, some are not actually. Some may not appear to be, but are. This is going to be something that you need to talk with your attorney about if you have a private plan specifically, and whether or not it's in your best interest to actually affirmatively reach out to the health insurance company to see if they have a right to reimbursement, because it may be a situation where they don't, and then you reach out and you end up essentially notifying them of that. But that's going to be really the more complicated situations if you have a private policy and you're trying to determine whether or not they have a right to reimbursement. It'll be a discussion you need to talk with your attorney about. Research may need to be done in order to fully determine that. But if you've got a private policy, that's where you want to be careful. We as attorneys, we always say, look, and I think the obligation is there, even if you have a private policy or a federal policy, if you as a client receive notice from a health insurance company that there may be reimbursement, if they contacted you and said, hey, look, we understand you were involved in a car accident, we're trying to investigate whether or not we have a right to reimbursement, or we have a right to a lien and we're asserting that lien, you need to let your attorney know that. If an attorney has knowledge of a lien, they have an ethical duty to investigate that lien to determine whether or not it's appropriate or not. If you don't let them know of that, at the very least, and you settle your claim and you don't pay your bill, at the very least, you're going to get kicked off your health insurance company and you're going to be denied further coverages and you're going to get sued. When it comes to, again, Medicare, not only are you going to get sued, you're going to get a huge penalty against you, but the attorney may get sued as well. The insurance company may get sued too. So you need to be very careful. Now, again, this video is really meant to be informative. It's really meant to get you thinking about it. What I want you to do after watching this, in addition to making sure to follow Abrenio Law on YouTube, of course, because we're coming up with more information. If you're represented by an attorney, they may very well have already talked with you and you're good to go. But if you haven't yet talked to an attorney, one of the things that you want to do when you're talking to the attorney is asking about potential reimbursement. You're also going to want to keep your eye on the mail to see if you're getting notifications from your health insurance policy about potential reimbursement liens. And look, I get it. It may seem unfair if you've got to reimburse your health insurance company. I understand. But keep in mind, the last thing I will say about this is there's never a guarantee that you'll see $1 in your car accident claim. Here in Virginia, plaintiffs work injured victims. Unfortunately, I tend to find that the law is stacked against us. So it's always possible you could end up losing your case. Of course, every case is different, and some I could be more confident about than others, but there's always a chance of losing. If you have to reimburse, even though you're not aware that you've entered into this agreement with the health insurance company, essentially what they agreed to you to do is they said, you plaintiff, you injured party, we will pay your medical bills so long as it's in their network care, and we don't expect money to come back to us unless you get money from that third party, from that car insurance company. Then you're required to pay us back. So to be clear, the right to reimburse a health insurance company, the requirement, it doesn't trigger until you get money from that third party, until you get money from that car accident claim. So if you don't get money, you don't have to pay them back. That's kind of the caveat there. So hopefully this video has been informative. It may have raised questions, so you can make sure to reach out to us. Again, I'm James Abrenio. Phone number is 703-570-4180. You can reach us at www.abreniolaw.com. We've also created a specialized URL page, our car accident practice page. It's www.novacaraccident.com. So it's www.nova, N-O-V-A for Northern Virginia, caraccident.com. I've answered a bunch of questions on there. We're constantly updating that for information. We're linking to our YouTube page where we're adding videos and things like that. So hopefully you find this information useful in navigating our complex laws here in Virginia, who you should hire as an attorney, and ultimately help you make more educated decisions about your case going forward. Thanks a lot. Hope to hear from you soon. And until then, be safe.